Okay, we're just waiting for people to arrive and we'll be kicking off the presentation pretty shortly. Oh, we're at 18. We're getting some good joining. Okay, we're at 20. I think let's get going. Okay. All right. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our webinar with Hatz AI about how to build, deploy, and adopt AI securely. First, I want to thank all of you for carving out time in your busy week. We know your time's valuable and we appreciate you giving us some of it. I'm Keith Emery, Chief Client Officer at Starport Managed Services. In my role, I spend a lot of time talking with our clients about how to leverage technology, and increasingly those conversations are about AI. In my conversations with clients, almost every leader I know knows they need an AI strategy, but what they're wrestling with is how to move fast without exposing their business to risk. The reality for most of them is that AI is already in their organization, whether they have a strategy or not. What we keep seeing firsthand is shadow AI, employees already pasting sensitive data into public tools because no secure sanctioned options exist yet. So our goal today is to share what's actually working within our own team at Starport to eliminate shadow AI and deliver secure, scalable AI through Hatz. Before we dig in, I'd just like to quickly introduce the people that you're going to be hearing from today. First off, we have Jim Pellegrino, Strategic Account Executive with Hatz AI. Hey, Jim. Jim's got 25 plus years across IT, managed services, and cybersecurity. He's got channel leadership roles at names like Barracuda, Huntress, and Scout before joining Hatz. His security first pedigree is exactly why he's here. His focus is helping organizations deliver AI that's secure by design, not bolted on afterward. He's going to take the lead on explaining what Hatz is, how it can help you deploy secure AI within your organization, and demoing the platform. Next, we've got Nathan Strongman, IT Services Architect at Starport. Nathan's got 20 plus years in the IT industry, and he's an 8-year Starport veteran. He specializes in systems architecture, automation, and AI-driven solutions. He builds the tech behind our service delivery, including workflow automation, and has a lot of hands-on experience integrating AI into our company processes, some of which he's going to share with you today. Finally, a little background about myself. I've been with Starport for a little over 3 years. Prior to that, I was a Starport client for almost a decade, leading IT and operations for a mid-sized not-profit. So I've sat right where many of you are sitting today, and I can empathize with the challenge that you have to effectively and safely integrate AI into your organizations. I'd like to talk a bit about the agenda for today. So we're going to start with a quick intro to Hatz and why we partnered with them to provide our clients with a secure AI platform. Next, we're going to elaborate on the importance of secure AI and the risk that shadow AI poses to your data. Next, we'll discuss how to deploy secure AI within your organization and how to facilitate adoption using a crawl, walk, run approach. Then we're going to jump into the meat of the webinar with a hands-on tour of Hatz AI so you can see how it works in practice. We're going to follow that up with a couple of high-value use cases that can be delivered quickly to save your organization's time. Finally, we'll provide time for questions and then close out with some clear, low-friction action items you can follow to get started with Hatz. Now, a quick note, this is a working session, so we welcome questions throughout. Please put your questions into the chat, which will be monitored by my colleague, Brett. We're going to have to try to move through the material quickly so that we can spend sufficient time demoing Hatz and showing use cases and taking questions. So Jim, Nathan, if I have to kind of move you along a little bit, don't take it personally. Just want to make sure that we get to the good stuff. I'm now going to pass it on to Jim Pellegrino from Hatz to explain what Hatz AI is. Jim, take it away.
Thank you very much, Keith. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to everyone who took time out of their day to come and learn a little bit about Hatz to see if it might be a good fit for you and your AI journey at all of your respective companies. So I'm here to talk about why Hatz, what is Hatz, and what we can provide for you. So what is Hatz? What is it? Well, just piggybacking off of what Keith said, looking at shadow AI, that's an issue, and in many cases, a company that doesn't even know that is existing inside their companies. Our goal is to have a big, easy button for you to push with that, and we have some security measures and how we've developed everything. I can go over that. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that your AI journey is secure and protecting your private and proprietary information. And how do we do that? So think of AI at work, right? A lot of people might bring their own personal chat GPTs and potentially exposing some data. So what we try to do is give you a lot of flexibility as well as a robust option in terms of AI at work. How do we do that? Well, we actually curate every LLM that's out there. So whether you've used chat GPT or Claude or any of the LLMs that you can think of or that you've even heard of, we curate that under one drop-down menu inside the platform, something that I'll be happy to show you shortly when we hop on for the demonstration. But we also want to connect those applications that are important to you, all that data. And it truly is, like I said, an AI for work. So we have some of them that are listed here, but we can securely and safely connect that information, your M365, your Fireflies, your Calendly, and a slew of other applications where we have native integrations for you to connect that information. We want to make it easy for you to work and build those efficiencies without having to worry about your data escaping. We want to make sure that we keep it private. You can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned about security, what are the problems that we solve for? First, number one is that shadow AI that's lurking over everyone's head. I've had many conversations with some of the customers of our MSPs that didn't even realize that that was an issue. So in most cases, it's an innocent, hold the plug because you don't even know that you're using it. And there's several things that you have to think about. You don't want that data training the models where it goes out publicly. That's something that the layer in using it inside of Hatz, we're going to shut that down. It's not going to have a way to escape. We do have zero data retention policies with all the LLMs that we work with. We want to make sure that it's secure, but also thinking about not even as you're working, as you have an employee working and protecting that information, think about those that you may not know that are using their own free tools and they're going to take them with them, right? So at the end of their employment at your company, literally anything, any history that they have on any of the information that they've used, whether it's customer data, someone in human resources might have some really private data that can't be shared, they might take that information with them. In most cases, it's an innocent situation where they really weren't trying to do something. But if you think about, there might be a percentage that are going to go to, say, a competitor, and they're able to bring that information with them. Using Hatz we pretty much have the kill switch at that point, where you can just shut them down. They leave everything behind. They're not going to take it with them. So, I always I've been around long enough, and that intro that Keith gave, thank you, man. I mean, my gray hair probably gave it away a little bit, but I was around for backup when nobody wanted to spend money on backup, and then cybersecurity when who's going to want to hack me? But we all know that those are very, very important pieces in securing and making sure that we always have access to the data, that it's not changed or stolen. Well, you got to start thinking about that way when it comes to AI. There is a big gap that is potentially leaking your information in and training those models. So just wanted to make sure that from a security standpoint, you understood the severity of what some companies might be looking at. The other part is the AI adoption. So you may say, I don't know where to begin, but I want to get my company rolling. inside of some type of AI platform. We have a couple users, but wow, what could be if we have everyone being able to maybe find those daily workflows and build those efficiencies? How much more efficient can we be? Time is money. And of course, there's a layer as almost like a Hatz AI assistant, right? Everybody has like a little helper. It might actually improve the output as well and get you there a little bit quicker. But how do you begin if you were to come onto Hatz? Well, we actually have a training series. We have an onboarding. So it's a series of 3 video catalogs where there's a beginner. So you may have some people that never ever used AI before. They don't know what an LLM is. It'll help them spell AI. Just making a little joke there. But there's also, if you have an understanding of AI, well, how do I use it inside the Hatz platform? What are all of the amenities that I get with that? That's also, we have a video training for that. And then we also have, if you want to make it even on a bigger scale and build those crazy use cases that are going to do incredible work for you, we have this all layered out. You don't have to go anywhere else to get that training. We're able to help you out with that. And you're also going to have the help of the Starport team. If you need some specialized attention, they're going to be there for you as well and give you those options. And then once we have those 2 components in place, we've got you working securely. The data is not escaping. Everyone on your team is using AI, and you're building those use cases, and you're looking back at the return on the investment. Imagine 3 months down the road, if you're having a quarterly meeting with the Starport team, and you go, you know what, we're getting things done a lot quicker, and we're able to do a lot more. I tell a quick story about our sales team. We use the Hatch platform, and we don't have to go into Salesforce. It cuts down the entry of every opportunity from 3 minutes to 20 seconds. I do that 10 times a day. I'm going from 30 minutes to about 4 minutes of work to do the same thing. Then you multiply that by 10 people on the team. So you're looking at 5 hours going down to a little bit over 30 minutes. So an unbelievable amount of time is saved, and that's every day. Imagine if you have a sales team, how much more they can do when they have 30 hours a week combined to be able to find more opportunities and have more discussions with your customers. So just a little personal story of how we use it here and how it saves us a lot of time. You can go
That's
to
a good one, Jim.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, there are a couple slides that you can elaborate on some of those points going forward as well. But yeah, I can attest to the fact that the time savings that we've been able to achieve through AI, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And then the use cases is really like the next step, but maybe not an immediate one, where we can help train you and you'll be able to say, hey, I'm using Hatz and now I have some ideas. We give you the ability to learn how to build those, as well as if you need to tap into the Starport team.
Perfect.
Can you go to the next one?
Yeah.
So security, yeah, talked a little bit about that. You can edge ahead. How do the models get better? So we know it's not like magical, right? That these LLMs know what's going on. They're pulling that information. They're training on the information that's given. Many cases, they are getting information on probably a lot of things that maybe a company wishes wasn't public. And you got to be able to protect your company, protect your customers from that. They can go in and maybe look at some information that's on there. And they're like, how did that even happen? How does somebody even know this proprietary information? It's because it was used in a way that it was insecure. So they gain access to the data. And when people are using the free AI tools, and even some of them that are paid, it trains the data. And then those AI companies can add your confidential into their training data. Next thing you know, everything that you needed to keep secret, private, is public. And that's not a good thing. You can go ahead. So why does that matter to you? Loss of intellectual property, confidential info is exposed. You can look at, I had a conversation with a pharmaceutical company, and they're like, we would be like in a really bad spot if like our formulas were made public. They have competitors for the same, trying to find medicines for the same diseases. Your business data, your sensitive information, the company secrets. So anything, your company data, like I mentioned earlier, with your employees, when they leave, it'll go with them unless you put some type of AI use policy in place. And then again, it's an easy shut off at the admin level when you're offboarding an employee to be able to shut them down. They won't have access to the data that they use in Hatz. You can go to the next slide. So we believe data security should be a foundational consideration, not an afterthought. Because if it's an afterthought, you may have already let a lot of incredibly private and the type of security that you don't want to get public, it may already be out of the bag. And that's why from the get-go, we want to make sure, number one, we are shutting down shadow AI so that that data is protected. So you'd be surprised. Maybe some of you have a great handle on it. I've talked to a bunch of customers of our MSP partners, some very, very intelligent people I didn't realize, and they couldn't answer the question, do you know how your team is using AI? Do you know for a fact that no one is using any free tools and potentially exposing your data? If you answer, I don't know, you're actually in the majority. So don't feel bad about it, but there is now that easy button that you can push to be able to protect that. And the next question is obviously, if you don't know, then you don't know if your data is actually safe at that point. So great example. This was put together by the Starport team. They use their technical abilities and everything that they have access to be able to pull the information to say, you know, what does it look like in the last 3 days or the last 9 days at one of my customers? Where is that traffic going to? They're able to take a look at that potentially through like their firewall logs and see where that information is, what's being exposed. Are they going to certain LLMs that they don't have any kind of paid subscriptions for? What is actually going on? So there's a lot that could be potentially be going on that you aren't aware of. In some cases, right, it's innocent, but in others, that data can be used against you because they're training it publicly or they're going to potentially take it with them to a competitor, so to speak. So you want to make sure that these numbers are going to look a lot better in terms of where that traffic is going to and what LLMs are using. When you select Hatz, it stays inside the Hatz instance. It's in AWS servers. That's private. It does not go out and train those models. So if there's anything about this today, just think about the security side of it. It is an unknown for a lot of people out there, and you might be in that, but hopefully today's the day that you understand that could be a problem for you.
Yeah, just to speak a bit to that, these reports come from some sample clients that we had that didn't have a defined AI strategy and didn't have sanctioned AI tools. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that there's a lot of shadow AI going on in the organizations. Everybody's using AI so much in their day-to-day lives that the incentive to start using it in your work life if your company hasn't given you a tool is just too great. So really the strategy for our clients is you can't just tell your people not to use AI. It's just not realistic. What you need to do is come up with a tool that they can use that gives them access to all the models, all the integrations, get them leveraging that tool. It's going to help them. It's going to help you. And then there's also we can talk a bit with you guys later about some of the tools that we have that can actually shut down access to free tools and shut down shadow AI access that we can launch in conjunction with Hatz if that's something you're looking at.
Great.
Okay.
So part two of what we talked about at the beginning of was the security side of it, then there was the adoption side of it. That's what we're going to concentrate on now. So you can go ahead and click to the next screen. So how we think of AI adoption, you heard a little bit earlier from Keith, there's a crawl, walk, run mentality to get your company started. So we say meet your staff where they are. They may be in the crawl stage. So that's the use cases. They have immediate realization of time to value. They might use a lot in chat, almost like a glorified Google at the start, trying to like help get information that they need to do their job. And that's where a lot of those employees would start at the beginning, not only with Hatz, but with any AI. It's really just getting their feet wet and understanding it a little bit. Then there's those that have used it for a little bit and they are putting some thought into how they can use AI to build those processes that are going to really help from an efficiency standpoint. So they're similar, but they require customization, a little bit of hand holding. So it's a little bit more than a search or a chat. It's actually like really real world scenarios that are going to start thinking about what can I get in place to be able to make my job that much more efficient. And then there's the run side of it. So this is where you're finding those use cases, building workflows, building agents, really putting a dent into, I don't want to say wasted time, but just saving time to be able to do potentially a lot more if there's if you have a big list of like a task list. It's going to help you, tackle that a little bit better, but make you that much better. You have a friend in Hats where they're almost like your little personal assistant, just to be able to refine, maybe review the content or the writing, anything that can happen at that point. And then you can set up also uh, workflows that will give you a list of every meeting that you have the next day, so you don't have to go in and search all that. Save 30 to 60 minutes a day just on research. So um, meet your staff where they are. If they're just starting out or they've been using it and they need to really learn about Hats and then how to take it to the next level with the use cases.
I'm gonna flip
Next
to
slide.
the next slide for you. I really like this one, Jim.
This is a great slide. A lot of times, you rely on, say, your MSP, or you rely on maybe one of their partners like us, Hats. And like, if you think about this, an expert in your industry who learns a little bit about AI will create better use cases than an AI expert who learns a little bit, about your industry. That is like asking me to tell you what you actually need to help your processes, like your daily processes. You know better than we do what you do every day, what you do every week, where you think you can spend some time. So our job is to try to help expose you to be able to apply the Hats, the AI, to those ideas that you have to make you that much more efficient. So this isn't something where we could just create something because you asked us to. No, we're going to create an opportunity for you, and you can work with our team. We have some specialized, workshops, and you can work with the Starport team to help get you where you need to be. But the ideas that you need to streamline your business, they're going to come from you because you know
Yeah.
your industry, you know your company, you know your vertical better than we do.
I remember having conversations earlier on in the whole AI thing where everybody was like, okay, who do I need to hire? What AI experts do I need to bring in? Like, so much of the conversation was focused on that. And what we've seen through AI adoption in our own organization and clients that are really utilizing it is this is a technology for everybody. And it's going to surprise you sometimes where some of the innovation is going to come. Like, there's going to be people inside your organization who you wouldn't necessarily think of as technical, but they've got good problem solving skills, and they just use AI itself. They use the tools, like they're low code, no code tools, that because they understand your businesses so well, you put these tools in their hand, they can start solving problems that you normally would have thought you needed like a technical expert to solve.
You nailed it.
All right.
Yeah. So I mentioned the trainings a little bit earlier. So this is just a slide that shows those three in the video series. The AI champion, which is the first one listed, that's for the beginners. And then the AI navigator, think navigating around the Hats platform, then the quick AI skills when they want to take it to the next level. So, someone who's been using AI could probably go straight to the navigator and be fine with it. But it's all sitting there for you. And we absolutely see a direct correlation between those that take these trainings and then go ahead and use the product. Many times, there's some questions that are asked and they're waiting to have a meeting for, a day with their MSP, when if they took the training, they're already using it that way and working. So we try to arm you as best as we can to be able to, self-sustain in terms of getting up to speed on it, always knowing that Starport and Hats is here for you.
Yeah, I can say that internally at Starport, we made this like an organizational goal. So when we rolled it out, we put everybody, we mandated that everybody at least get the champion. And then we tracked it against all the teams, and we've been monitoring adoption. It sometimes takes a little while to get started. Like, it can be a bit slow, but once they start using the tool and they see how useful it is, then they're actually compelled to do some of the training, because it helps them just adopt it at a faster rate. So it's been great for us. And the training's really, I find it simple. Like, it's nice that there's not like a billion different modules that you have to try and figure out what you need. It's just like 3 different courses. You work through them in sequence, and gets you up and running quickly.
Yeah, and I'll add to that too, Keith, is we're very quick as we add new features. We update that frequently. So you're not going to see something that was hat specific a year ago. It's up to date. So we see the power in that, and we want to make sure that we give everybody the latest and greatest in terms of understanding how to navigate around the Hats platform.
Perfect. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into Hats.
All right.
Hopefully you can't hear my dog in the background. So I will let you share your screen, Jim.
You got it. Yeah. So let me go ahead and do that. If somebody on the panel can give me a thumbs up if you can if and when you can see the screen. All right. Looks like we're in, right?
We do have a quick question. I'm wondering if we can just
Yeah.
shoehorn this one in. Question from Nicholas. Should we think about Hatz as a control tower? If so, how should we think about the potential cost and efficiency?
Yeah, the best way, I mean, with hats, you actually have that control. So there's a few things that you can do. And Keith, jump in too if you want to add anything. We actually, at the admin level, we give a lot of flexibility in terms of usage, credit allowances. You can shut down some LLMs that might be considered a premium LLM. We do everything we can to give you as much power as possible. And even inside the platform itself in using it, and I'll show it to you, we're transparent on what are the higher level LLMs that are used, as well as giving the ability to just throw it on Hats and say, Hats, let me know what LLMs that I should use. Not only that are going to give me a great output, but also from a credit budgeting standpoint. So we have a lot of helpful enhancements that we've made to the platform to be able to address that. So we do give you the control to be able to kind of monitor that and set some guardrails in place. Keith, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, I think control tower is actually a pretty neat way of thinking about it because it's a single platform for all of your staff with all of the models and all of the integrations. So yeah, if you're struggling with having a lot of different subscription to different models, you're concerned about costs. Like a lot of clients are concerned that these models are starting to change their cost. They're starting to charge a lot more, and people are fearing that they're losing control either and how their staff are engaging with the models or the costs that they're actually going to be incurring for using these models, which may be coming after the fact. The beauty of Hats is single platform. You can get all of your users on it. It's credit based. And it's a fixed price. So you don't actually incur any overages. Basically, you get a bucket of credits based on the size of your organization or how much your users are using, and they just consume that. So it automatically kind of rations the use of that model. And then you can also put in place administrative controls through the platform, push all your staff through that platform and feel that you have a handle on what models they're using, how they're using those models, and making sure, and you have a fixed monthly cost associated with your AI use.
Yeah, and it's a way to, if you have personal licenses for every employee, there may be some that aren't using it, you're still paying for it. So the credit pool really is based on total usage of the company. So if you have some that aren't using it, you're not spending that money right there. And then from a pricing standpoint, of course, you can talk with the Starport team a little bit further, but we find that just knowing that, it's really how you're using it. So think of like a tank of gas, right? And everybody on your team is on the bus and they're driving forward. How many people are on the bus, the weight of the bus, like it's all going to impact the amount of gas that is used in that scenario. Same thing here. You're not paying a premium for everyone to be on the platform if they're not using it. So again, that can help control the cost for you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jim. I'm just going to interject. We're a little behind schedule.
Yeah,
So let's just dive into the demo.
you
And
got
I
it.
mean, we're at about halftime. We want to make sure that we get lots of time to look through the demo and use cases
Sure.
and then also answer any questions.
Yeah, and as we're going through this real quickly, Starport team will obviously speak with you individually. Our team as well is available if you want to bring us on. So to the Starport team, if we need to get a little bit deeper on a one-on-one, we certainly can do that. So here we are. This is where the magic happens. This is the chat. This is the chat page. But real quickly, the learning portal right here. This is where that video series is. So it's going to pick up where you leave off. There's going to be metrics inside the dashboards. Where is your team from a training standpoint? Can actually take a look at that. So I wanted you to see that. It's all right here. As a good employee, I've completed all three of them. So the team's going to be very happy to hear that. So back over to the chat. We mentioned how we curate all of the LLMs, and we do that on this drop-down menu right here. So you can come in, you can view all of them. You can look at every LLM that's out there. When you have the all button, scroll down. We can scroll down for a while and take a look at it. But if you wanted to say, look at Claude, right? The standard LLM is Haiku. There's Sonnet, there's Opus. We even have Fable, and that's all in here. You could just, if you wanted to select Sonnet, you would just click it, and all of a sudden, boom, there it is. That's going to be the LLM that you use. But I mentioned earlier about trying to look at from a credit budgeting standpoint, and our partners asked us, what does it look like? What can Hatz bring to the table? So again, when you look at something like this, when you look at all of the models, we have something up here that are multipliers, and it gives you an idea about versus one Hatz credit. What does every LLM look compared to that one Hatz credit? And you can see like 0.33, it'll go to 0.5, 0.75, 1, 1.25x, and it goes up from there all the way to Fable. It's 12x. And that uses a lot of harness power. But instead of you having to go in to try to figure that all out, we have come out with something that has been a game changer for us, our partners, and their customers. Auto model selection, which Hatz is going to read your prompt that you enter down here, and depending on you want a light answer, something middle of the road, or something more robust, we're going to attach the LLM that makes the most sense to be able to accomplish that for you. So there's a lot of flexibility inside just picking those LLMs. Some are great for some things, and others are great for other things. The charm of the Hatz platform is you have every LLM under the sun, and you have AI guideline, guiding you towards the best LLMs to use. We talked about the tools briefly on one of the slides, so those applications that you use. I'll go in and show you that that's housed here, show all tools. So out of the box, Hatz includes some of these built-in tools here. You might know some of the names with the code execution. I'm sure you've seen some marketing on Perplexity. These all come inside the platform. You don't have to connect in any other way. They're there for you. You can even use them in the auto tool function. But there's Firecrawl, Tavily, a great bunch of things that are in here. Me, on the sales team, there's certain applications that I use that I connect that are native integrations that I actually have to connect to. M365, Slack, Salesforce, Fireflies, Calendly. And then there's a whole bunch of other integrations that are available. So if there's something in here that you use, you'd be able to connect all of that, your data, inside the Hatz platform, and use it safely. I don't have to go all the way down. I know we're looking at time. I don't want to spend too much time, but the tools are selected right here. Go ahead.
This is great. Just in your experience, do you use the auto tool a lot, where you use the context of the chat and it just knows which integrations to go out and reach into, or do you like to specify which tools you're integrating into each of your chats?
Great question. A lot of times, because I'm on a lot of demos, I end up where I left the demo sometimes. So when I go in to do that, but I normally I do use the auto select feature. That's great. I use a lot of GLM. I find that to be a really good LLM without really too much of a credit burn. So we've been advised to use that, and I find that it's a great option. So using 30% of the credits potentially that I might be if I'm using one of the premium models. But you might go between it, but auto select is the safe way to go, because you're getting to use that Hatz intelligence in helping to select the LLM. You can actually, from an admin level, you can decide what your company's going to use. You can block some of the LLMs. DeepSake is a Chinese company, and there's some that just don't want to use DeepSake. That's up to the individual or the owner of the company. There might be some that are higher level burners like Fable or Opus. You can actually, from the admin level for the whole company, you can shut those down. So we give you the flexibility there, where you're not hoping and praying that somebody's not using these premium models all the time. There's ways to actually put some guardrails in place there. We also have the auto tool. So I mentioned tools where you can manually select, but at the beginning, sometimes you don't know what to use. So if you have some integrations, or you can have the auto tool, and Hatz is going to say, okay, with every application and integration that I have, what is going to help me to get to the output that they're looking for based on the input that they've entered. So the auto tool, the auto select, using AI to use AI, That's what we do a lot here at Hatz. You also have the ability with this plus button to bring in files from your computer, your OneDrive, be able to attach that as well to the search that you're trying to do, the prompt that you're looking to do. So you can see every LLM under the sun. You can attach it to the applications and integrations that mean most to you. If someone's on Copilot, they do a great job. They are Microsoft specific, right? And there's a great case if you want to use Copilot. What we do is not only do we have an integration with Microsoft 365, but we have so many other applications and integrations for the applications that Copilot's not going to be able to tap into. So just want to kind of show you a little bit of that. We also have all the history of every chat that I've ever done is in here. So I can continuously scroll all the way down and you go, well, you know, I might want to tap into something. You can pin some. So when you create them and you go, I know I'm going to need to tap into that again, just pin it. I've got 28 that I can go back to. They're at the top of my list here to be able to go down and have some easy access to those that you want to explore again. We also have the workshop. So the workshop is, think of a community page where there's going to be workflows and agents that you can tap into. So we have some that are Hatz specific that we have sanctioned. So they're Hatz approved. And we have others inside, that are inside the Hatz platform that if they decided that they wanted to share with the community, we have a whole list of them here. We have the newest ones here, so you can view all, and you can just go down the list. So the last one that was ever entered was the Pay App Assembler. Haven't checked it out. It was created on Friday, but you can certainly go in and try it out. Take a look. There's a lot of really cool things in here. When you get back out of the community, the most recent, there's browse by category. So depending on what you do and what vertical you're in, we actually have some workflows and agents that might be really good fits for you. If someone's here from the manufacturing vertical, we have some that you can go in and take a look at. Atlas of casting defects, investment casting bids. So someone from the casting vertical was in here and sharing some of those, but construction, RFP proposals, a lot of really cool things in here that you can tap into.
Jim,
You know, Hatz isn't a nice to have. It's literally, it's something for your business. So anything that you can attach from the get-go that's going to make your day that much more efficient, that's what we're trying to do here in the work group. So
perfect. Jim, I know we've got Nathan. He's going to be doing a bit on the workshop side. But I know when you can either use these ones and customize them, right, for your own organization.
Mhm.
You can also create your own custom items that you can share with the rest of your team as well. Is that right?
Correct. That is correct. Yeah. So number one, you'll have my items, which anything that I've ever built is going to be listed down here all the way since the beginning. Some of them are favorites and they're right here. And you can take a look at some of these where you're going, okay, let me look at this WTC wine and integration agricultural workflow. I actually built this for a potential customer on a call. And if you want to go in and take a look at that, what does that actually look like? So this is where I want to kind of remove a little bit of like potential intimidation factor where you're going, I don't know if I'm up to the task to be able to build something like this. This is the workflow that was actually built. You can see the prompts that were built. It took me 1 minute to build this. 1 minute. And
so you didn't write this yourself?
I did not create all of this. That might be a pretty steep task for some people, and potentially just have them turn away from it and say, that's not for me. Hatz has been created for everyone. So there might be this workflow could be something that's very, very valuable if you can incorporate it. But man, what does that actually look like? Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you what I used. So we're going to go back to the chat and remember our friends in the tools section over here. We've created at Hatz a workshop assistant that in plain language, no coding, you could go in and say, can you build me a workflow that's going to do X, Y, Z? And it's actually going to go in and build it. So you can use your
Jim,
tools, your data.
Sorry to interrupt. I do, just in the interest of time,
Yeah.
I don't know if Nathan, are you going to be demoing the workshop assistant as well?
Yeah, I have a demo of that I can show.
Yeah, maybe we'll just pass to Nathan. He can
Sure.
he can do the one that he was going to share with the team, just because I want to make sure we have sufficient time for questions. I'm sure
Sounds
you're
great.
happy
Yeah, I
to
need a
get a
sip
bit
of
of a
water,
break.
but you know that was a lot of fun, and I'm here to help and back up the Starport team. So appreciate the time. Nathan, take it away.
Sure. So kind of on what Jim said here too. Now, this is exactly how I've built many of my automations with Hatz and other tools. Well, my sharing disappeared there.
Yeah.
There we go. So essentially what I'm going to do is build one of these automations for you right now, just show you how to do it. Mind you, this description is fairly extensive. The more you can kind of describe this, the cleaner you can describe it, the better it's going to be. You can have this as simple as make me an automation to read emails and send follow-ups. It will very happily do that. You may not get the same results, but that's part of initially once you're building it.
Nathan,
So yeah.
I believe you can even help, like you can actually have the chat itself kind of help you construct the prompt that you ultimately put in, right?
Yeah, so you can tell it from start to finish, say prompt me to build this automation if you want. So I'm just kind of fast tracking it here because you could go back and forth with prompts for as long as you want to refine this thing and even edit it through here. So once it's created, you can do the same thing, jump in, and then have it edit the existing workflows. So all I'm doing here, you pick your model. I find sticking to one model tends to produce more common results. And again, it's more preference. Everybody's got their preference of models once you do it. And the only tool I'm adding here is the workshop assistance. If you want to integrate some of your other connected stuff, you can. But in this case, I'm just using the workshop assistant. Actually, I should have the Microsoft one as well because this is going to have a Microsoft connection. And I hit go on that. It will think here for a moment. And it is creating this workshop or workflow in the background, this agent. And like Jim mentioned, there's different pieces in Hatz. There's agents, there's workflows, there's apps. Essentially, they all accomplish the same thing, just with different interfaces. An agent is something you can chat with, just using chat, and it's more interactive. A workflow is good for if you're connecting a lot of pieces together. So, and I'll show an example of that later, but it's like a newsletter, for example, is one we use, where it takes a bunch of pieces, puts them all together as separate prompts, and then consolidates that into one big workflow at the end. So you'll see it's stepping through here, it's reading to see what it has access to, putting the prompts out, and just like that, the agent is created. So now I can do a new chat for my dropdown, and I should be able to view all. We'll just use this one they created, didn't refresh. This is same agent. So from here, I have an email in my inbox with a subject of new client Roadrunner Inc. Just a test email we've created. This is literally all I have to do. So it's already connected my Microsoft account here. Give it the prompt. And essentially what this automation will do, it's going to take an email and it's going to parse that email, figure out what's going on, and help you create and schedule a meeting for follow-up for that. And it will check attendees' calendars, make sure suggest dates, what's available. So right now it's wanting how long. So I can say a duration of 30 minutes. Attendees will say add Keith in there. And source email. So sometimes it picks this up again. It's like every AI. Sometimes you gotta specify it here. And for reason, we'll do read from email. So again, you can keep this very simple, very complex. It's entirely up to you how you work. And right now, this is actually going to query my Outlook here and pull in that email, and it'll determine it.
So this is saving you all that time that you might spend trying to like coordinate this meeting, figure out what to communicate to the participants. I know that's something like I do a lot.
Yeah.
Trying to coordinate meetings and communication with people to execute on something.
Yeah, and this is a very generic workflow. This is one of these tools that once you start working with it, you'll find yourself, if it's something repeatable, you may think, okay, let's throw that in hats and let's see if I can automate it. So right now it's giving me the reason. So it's a kickoff discussion, the attendees, a very quick agenda, and now it's letting me pick some time slots. So again, if you've ever fought with some of the scheduling in Outlook, you know this alone can be an absolute nightmare depending on how many people you have scheduled. So let's say option 1. And everything looks good. And this will actually create the meeting, send out the invite, including the Teams invite to everybody. And you can kind of see here as well that Jim was mentioning about the auto. So right now this is using Minimax. Before it was using GLM. So this is the auto model taking place in every message you send. Depending on what you're putting in, it may pick a different model. So you're saving cost in that way as well. So you're not using Opus for a single line input that says option 1. So now the meeting has been created, and both Keith and Brett should have an email with that calendar created.
Just got it.
And it's just that simple. So what that actually created was actually this one here, the first one I did. So this is what it created. So it's just an agent-based thing. The description is just the very generic piece. The instructions are, again, the important piece. And you could build this out yourself. You could write all this. But again, it took your prompt and it put all the steps for what AI will need based on natural input is the idea here. And if you don't like using the AI model, or the auto model, this is where you can actually say, I actually want this to use Haiku, for example. You can give it a fancy icon, add some extra sources to it, all those pieces to it. And then
and
if
you did this just with some text.
Just with a text prompt.
Yeah, you didn't even need to work through the GUI here.
And same idea, if you want to share this out to your company, you can share it out. So I could essentially share this with Keith. He could pick this up and he can start using this in his dropdown. And that's an idea of what an agent looks like. So another very extensive one that I've used in the past is the newsletter. So this is just an internal newsletter we try to send out just as let people know what's kind of going on in one of our spots here. So you can kind of see here where we have inputs. So this is based on, I'll show you what the actual preview is. So you get a few simple inputs, the date, highlights, a message from somebody, upcoming events, very simple inputs that you can fill out here. And what this does is it takes each of these, and each of these is a different prompt, essentially different agent. So it may have different tools, some have different models. So depending on what I need, like I find the technical updates may need a stronger model. Whereas events, you can just throw Haiku or whatever you want at it kind of thing. It takes all these pieces, links them all together, puts them into one wrap-up message, takes the wrap-up message, and then assembles everything using a much higher tier model to keep consistency. And then there's a final one that will actually export everything into PDF, HTML, and docx, essentially. And that will get me a newsletter once this runs.
This is very cool. So
process takes a while, but this is not something you do as a crawl stage, for example.
Yeah, but you did. Yeah, you started and with simply using that workflow assistant in the chat, and then you can kind of grow from there, right? As you work through it.
This was all built with the workflow assistant.
Okay.
There might have been the odd editing in here, but everything else is back with the workflow assistant. Make an edit. I want to change this piece of it. I want this output.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, what this does a great job of demoing is the platform works for every level of user. So your basic users can get right into the chat and start automatically getting value out of it. But somebody as sophisticated as Nathan can also use that platform, build the things that they need to build, and you can even share that with the team, right? Like you've shared some of your workflows with us. I think now would be a good time to dive into the Q&A. We'll pull Jim back in, and I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see here. All right. So just to punctuate some of the key benefits from Hatz AI before we dive into the questions. So it allows you basically, it does AI securely for you. So all that issue that you're encountering with Shadow AI, you pull it all into Hats. You're giving your staff the tools they need, and it's in a secure environment. The data is not being used to train those models. Your proprietary secure data is not inadvertently getting out into the wild. The other cool thing is you're standardizing a platform and minimizing platform subscription. So you may have a bit of AI sprawl going inside of your organization. This gives you access to all the AI models, one single platform, one single monthly cost. Ready to go workflows. As Jim and Nathan showed you, they've got pre-built workflows. They've also got a tool to quickly build your workflows. So if people have been talking about agentic and all this stuff inside of AI and you're kind of going, I don't know where to start, Hats can get you up and running really quickly. And then finally, it gives access to all the employees. So the subscription model is not user-based. Everybody gets access to it. It's just based on a bucket of credits. The beauty there is if someone's not using it, it's not costing you any money. And then at the point where you've got everybody heavily using it, if you're hitting the limit on your credits and you need to go to the next tier, it's usually a decision you're happy to make because you know that you're getting a ton of value out of the platform. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the Q&A and see if we can get some good questions from the group. So feel free to throw your questions into the chat or the Q&A. Okay, we've got another question from Nicholas. Thanks, Nicholas. Is Hats capable of being HIPAA compliant? Where's data stored, and is there any color on the no data retention policies? Jim, I'm gonna throw that one to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now with AI, there are, with the LLMs, you can't specifically say, because we're relying on the LLM itself to say we're HIPAA compliant. The cool part about it is this year, there's a lot of things that we're going to be able to do. To the first one that we're working on is the HIPAA compliancy. We are in the middle of our SOC 2. Again, we're reissuing it. And at the end of that, probably by the end of the year, we're probably going to be in a spot where we can say that we are officially HIPAA compliant. But right now, with a lot of them not being able to say that, or can they really back it up, we are that best practice to be able to have that layer of security, again, working inside that Hats instance. So I still wouldn't put any and every and all data in there, but you have every safeguard possible at this moment through Hats to be able to make sure that that data is secure. And in many cases, we have conversations with customers, and they're able to say, well, what do you actually need in HIPAA compliancy? A lot of times we're able to meet those controls. So HIPAA compliancy is coming. It's just that we can't put that stamp of approval on it just yet. But in many cases, we're best practices with what's out there right now.
Perfect. Oh, I think we've got another. Brett, I don't know if Brett's got a question. I see he's typing. I did have, there's a common question. Oh, yeah. There's a question from Danique. Can Hats integrate into Microsoft for companies that are solely web-based? So I think if you mean you're accessing Microsoft 365 solely through the web, can we integrate with Microsoft 365? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, right, Jim?
Yeah. It's yes. You'd be able to do that. So right now, like that's a lot of how we're actually working anyway, in terms of our own web-based. We don't have a desktop or a mobile application yet. That's coming. So everything is pretty much, a lot of it is cloud-based along with those integrations that are tapping in. So the answer is yes, that we'd be able to do that.
Perfect. Okay, I've got a question that I know a lot of people ask when I'm talking with my clients. So a lot of them already using ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They're using these models, and some of them, their question is basically, why should I use Hats if I've already got these models set up?
Yeah, so you can actually, you streamline in terms of there being like one subscription for your whole company. You can get away from some of those that have user licenses that potentially aren't even, they might not even be using them that's money out the window every month, where you can get a good look at, from a team standpoint, what does that actually look like? And then all the integrations that we bring in and all the flexibility of all the LLMs, that's not available at especially the LLM side of it, at those other developers and those other platforms. So we give you a true AI for work that gives you as much flexibility as possible. The other thing is there's not a lot of training with those other platforms. We've taken a lot of time to make sure that we put that in place so that within reason you have your staff using Hatz in a productive manner. So from the training side of it, all the way through all the LLMs, the integrations that we bring, and plus, we work with MSPs, and we believe they're the ones, from a security standpoint, they're the ones that are delivering your cybersecurity. It only makes sense to partner with them, and they've chosen Hatz to be able to continue to protect your data.
Just want to add it quickly onto that one as well. I've got some clients who have like pretty deep investments in terms of Claude, but they still have staff who are like, oh, I want to use Nano Banana or something. Like I want to use this other model to do this one thing that I can't get out of the tool that I'm using. So for some of those clients who are a little bit more mature, I'm saying, well, put Hatz in the mix, right? Hatz can be the model that you use for some of your users that you don't want to give a full Claude subscription to. Or it's the model that you use when somebody from your group comes and says, I need access to this model, because you don't want to be setting up subscriptions to all of these different models, especially if it's like just specific use cases. So we use Hatz in conjunction with some other AI tools, and it's a great sort of gives you all the models, integrations with everything. And then the last point is we work inside of it. So if you need some help, building workflows or giving you some advice on how to get the most out of the model, we can take you on that journey because we're using it ourselves. I don't know. Sorry, go
Keith,
ahead, Jim.
midstream, if you need to switch over to Nano Banana, it's right in that same chat. So your
Yeah,
next window, you just turn it on, Gemini Nano Banana, and you're not like copy and pasting, exporting to your Gemini. It's all inside the platform, ease of use. So I wanted to kind of bring that up.
agreed. That's a really cool feature. So I'm gonna go to the closing slide because we're almost here at time. So just next steps. So if you're interested in getting set up with Hatz or you want more information, just email your account manager and they can schedule a discovery call. If needed, we can bring Jim on or we can join. We can go into more detail about it. We can talk about pricing and everything. So just reach out to your account manager, ask for a discovery call, and we'll get it scheduled right away. If you're not currently a client of Starport, you can scan the QR code on your screen, and that's going to take you to a booking link to book a discovery call with Brett, our Chief Growth Officer, who's kind of lurking in the background here. He'll make sure that the right people are on there, and we can we can show you Hatz and demo it for you, even if you're not a client. Finally, Jim and Hatz have agreed that we could offer a 30-day delayed billing if we get enough interest from the webinar. So, I encourage everybody who's interested, get your discovery call booked, and we may be able to put in place a 30-day delayed billing so we can actually get you all on the platform without having to pay for 30 days. So I really appreciate everyone joining us. Thank you so much for your time again. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Nathan, for joining us. Thanks, Brett, for running the webinar. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.